Hey guys, Lucifer here bringing you another deck profile and replays. Today we're going over an Igknight Destiny Hero deck. This was handed in by one of our subscribers. I gotta say thank you. Uh, yeah, this deck is really unique, to be honest. It actually stood up to some of this new OCG upcoming meta. It's something different, I gotta say. It's got a lot of search power, it's got a lot of draw power. I did not edit the deck at all except for one card in the extra deck, which I suggested. But that was simply removing a Dante Pilgrim for Ranjaminiad. Yes. So this deck is really just it's hard to explain, to be honest. It just kind of works. It's a combo variant deck. It spans rank 6s, and of course Dark Law is always an amazing card to get into. One suggestion I may have for the deck is to add an Altamaya, simply because Coral Dragon can be made so much in this deck, and it's just a great card to bring across the wing. But anyway, the entire idea of this deck is to use these Ignites over here, really. They deck thin like crazy, as I'm sure you all know, but then, of course, when T's and Phyrexes, they go to the grave. So what you would normally do is use Ptolemy 7 to add them back to your hand, and that way you can reuse the Destiny engine that's already in your grave. Armageddon is, of course, a great search and sender, and overall the deck itself is really fun. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy these replays. Well guys, we're back at that point in the video where I take the deck and I grade it based off of 4 concepts being versatility, difficulty, recovery, and consistency in that order. So, as usual, we're going to start off with versatility. Versatility, I've given this deck a 7 out of 10. The reason behind this is because it's really a great, well-rounded deck. It's got open to tons of combos. You never really have a completely dead hand. I've only ever gotten it once when I opened with 3 malicious. But even then, I managed to make something of it. It's really just a deck that you can play around with. It's like having a little sandbox. It's also very easily splashable. The engine is very splashable into other decks, and other decks can just splash their own little thing into here. One thing I was surprised to see was that it didn't run the Destiny Hero Celestial because it's free Pot of Greed. I was surprised until I found out that it's a TCG only deck, and you know what? I respect that, but I still feel like the deck needs a little more oomph. The reason I didn't give it a higher score is because it doesn't have the most explosive plays possible. Yes, you get big boards, but it's not like you can really disrupt that much with a possibly Trishula, or maybe a Mist Worm, or something that could really, like, you know, pull out some unexpected surprises from your opponent. It's a great concept, it's a great deck, it's just I don't feel like it's on par with some of the other things that we've seen. For example, let's just look at Cosmo, okay? They have a very linear playstyle, just like this deck does. But the difference is that their cards are made to be extremely strong and overwhelming, and that's why they were tier 1 for so long. However, these days, after they've seen so much attention going into nationals, going to tons of regionals everywhere, always placing tops, you don't really see too many people as worried about them anymore, simply because you know how to get around it. Hell, when Dueling Network was still back up and I'll go against Cosmo all the time, it really wasn't that much of an issue to me. Even these days, seeing it on DevPro, I'm kind of surprised just because I don't see anyone running it anymore. But overall, it still did have some explosive plays that you can do, some unexpected things that your opponent could always get the hang of. And this deck does, don't get me wrong, it's just that it's not as explosive as you would like. It could really use a little more oomph, maybe adding in an Ultimayo, or maybe putting something extra into the main deck. But overall, right now, it's very solid. It's just that I know that there's potential for it to be better, and I know that this isn't the final stage of the deck either. I can't wait to see it in its final stage. So, for now, I'm giving it a 7 out of 10. For difficulty, I've decided to give this deck a 6.5 out of 10. The reason behind this is because the deck itself is not that hard to play, but you do combo plays. You gotta think ahead about what you're gonna do, you gotta think about why. If you don't, you can really put yourself in a bad situation, especially if you use your resources way too quickly or slowly. I'm not gonna say the deck is hard to play, but it's not the easiest I've come by any means. I really compare it to advanced Cosmo players, mainly because of how, yes, it's linear, everyone knows how to do it to some extent, but really going into those advanced plays requires some form of talent, or at least knowing the deck. It's not the hardest deck I've played by any means at all, but it's not the easiest either. Like, all in all itself, it's very balanced by every way, so for this reason I've given it a 6.5 out of 10 for difficulty. Now for recovery, I've decided to give this deck an 8 out of 10. The reason behind this is because, yeah, this deck can recover pretty well, it revolves around your grave, but if your opponent sets up a field that you really can't get over or have trouble getting over, then your recovery becomes blocked very, very hard. I'm not saying that, oh, yeah, anyone's going to get stuck if your opponent has a strong board, but I mean this deck in particular. Let's say your opponent has a Dark Law on the field, you're pretty much screwed there for searching, which makes up at least half of this deck. Same with drawing outside of your draw phase. This deck is great, it has a lot of potential to come back. It needs a few turns, you know, to really build itself up and to give itself potential, because it also is a combo variant, I guess I should say. It's a very combo-oriented deck. The recovery when it comes back is amazing, but of course it does have some flaws in the sense that it won't always get over everything, and that's why I think that it should be a little bit more explosive, but, you know, you can't have the world. Overall, this deck has gotten an 8 out of 10 for recovery from me. Finally, for the most important aspect in a deck, I have given this an 8 out of 10 for consistency. The reason behind this is because I really never opened Dead. It's a very solid combo variant in the sense that you can really make something with whatever you get. However, I have come up with a few dead hands mainly because of the 3 Destiny draws with only 3 malicious. I don't know about you guys, but I feel like you should always have at least 5 copies of a card before you put in its draw discard variant. Like, for example, 5 level 8s before you put in 3 trade-ins, or 5 Destiny Heroes before you put in 3 Destiny draws, but that's just me. The deck itself is really good, and I could see reasons for putting it like this, because it really is fast, it has a ton of draw power, and I just find myself sometimes lacking what I could really use instead. Maybe a 1-day piece would have been better, but regardless, the deck itself is consistent, it gets good, big plays off. I honestly had trouble recording for this video because everyone else that I recorded against kept cheating, that's why I had my friend Zach help me out in this. But regardless, it really is just a great deck, it's consistent, it's powerful, and I'm really glad that I got the chance to review it. So, that's the end of the video. I hope you guys liked it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, do all that fun stuff, and I will see you guys next time.